So today I'm going to try a different recipe. It's something I've never tried before. I've seen it doing this particular recipe doing the rounds on social media recently. Credit to Kathy Kehoe, I believe that was who had shared the version of it that I saw. It's for bread rolls when you don't have any yeast. You don't have any bread flour, which is kind of a bit tricky if you're trying to make bread rolls and if you can't get hold of any bread because you can't get out to the shops. So it's in American cups, or I presume it's American cups. It's in cups. I've tried to convert it to what I think would be sort of UK grams and millilitres version. However, I don't know quite how this one's going to go, so we're going to give it a go and see. At the end of this recipe, it apparently makes 5 rolls. I'll probably put 2 rolls in the oven to cook. The other 3 I'm going to see if for any way at all we can turn them into mini pizzas, which is hopefully something that if you've got children at home at the moment, they might enjoy either making with you or eating them at the end of it. So first thing I need is 1 cup of flour. Now this is plain flour that I'm using because I'm going to use baking powder with it. So as self-raising flour's got baking powder in it, I kind of assume that they're meaning plain flour. If you've got self-raising flour, that's great, but don't add the baking powder would be my advice, but don't blame me if it don't go right. So they want 125 grams is what I'm thinking, might be about a cup. So 125 grams of plain flour's gone in. Okay, and to this they say to add a teaspoon of baking powder. So I'm going to add in a level teaspoon of baking powder. I'm not actually going to measure this out over the bowl, because if I get too much, I don't want it to end up in my mix and make it taste of chemicals, which adding too much baking powder can do. So teaspoon baking powder's gone in. Then there's a teaspoon of salt. As I said in some of the other videos I've done, I really don't like salt very much in my recipes. Again, I'm not going to do it over the bowl in case I get too much in there. It'd be nothing worse than really salty bread. Mind you, I guess you could then use it as Play-Doh or something for the kids. So, not wanting to come out of there. I think this is quite an old jar. There we go. I'm using just less than a teaspoon. Then it says a half a cup of milk, which I've again tried to investigate, and I think half a cup of milk might be about 125 millilitres. So I'm just going to get some milk out. I don't know about you, but my measuring jugs never go down small enough in calibrations for this, so it's going to be a bit of a guess at 125 mils. Somewhere about there maybe. And then the last thing it wants is 2 tablespoons of mayonnaise, which is the rogue item in this. I like food science. I have to say the science behind the mayonnaise going in there is eggs, but if I was making a standard bread dough, then I generally wouldn't add eggs into that other than possibly to glaze. So I'm not too sure quite what it's in there for. Baking powder's presumably there instead of the yeast. Mayonnaise, maybe it's to add some texture to it, maybe it's to add some flavour to it. I'm not really sure, but we'll see if it works. So the milk's going to go in. I have no clue if this is the right method or not. It was very limited on the method. They did have some ingredients there. And then, as this literally was the end of my mayonnaise, 2 level tablespoons of mayonnaise. That's a nice noise, sorry. Then, again, not too sure, but my gut says to mix this with a knife that I'd use to butter my bread. So I'm going to mix this until it comes together. Now, generally, we would need bread dough, and that would help something called gluten to develop. And gluten is what helps to trap in bubbles of CO2 when the yeast makes it. However, there is no yeast in this. There will be a little bit of CO2 made by the baking powder as the milk's hit it, got wet. This looks very wrong, is all I can say to you. There's no way I'm going to be able to knead this, but I have stirred it together, and I hope that wherever that mayonnaise is, it's now incorporated. It doesn't say if you need to grease the tin or not. I'm going to suggest that with this mix you possibly would want to grease it, although it's coming together quite nicely now in a funny sort of gloopy way. I'm not too sure. Anyway, I've got a silicone baking tin here, which I'm going to do. Clearly, if I put this onto a tray in rolls, they would just flop open and not behold their shape at all. So I'm going to try putting this into these rings here. So let's use that as well, just to get these out. I'm guessing about a tablespoon for each one. And I'll do a third one of these, and then I'll see if I can in any way resurrect the rest of this dough to turn into mini pizzas in just a moment. So these then are in the tray somehow. They do not look promising. We will see what they come out like from the oven. They're going to go in though. The lady says 350 degrees, which I presume means Fahrenheit. Again, I've had a little look, and I think that the conversion for that would be about 180 degrees C or gas mark 4 or 5. Much cooler than you'd normally put bread in the oven for. We'll see how it comes out. These are going to go in the oven, and I will hopefully show you at the end what they come out like. And I'm then going to show you how you can possibly turn this liquid mess into pizza bases. I'm not sure about that, but we'll try it next. The rolls have come out of the oven now. They've probably been in about 5 minutes longer than they suggested, so probably nearer 20 minutes than 15. They've gone golden brown on top. I used the spoon that I'd used on the mayonnaise to put them into the tray, so there's a little bit on the top of this one which looks a little bit shiny. That's where I guess the mayonnaise has touched, and there as well. Anyway, these have come out of the oven, and I don't know if you can hear that, but they kind of sound a little hollow, like you would expect when you tap bread. They feel very spongy and very soft. Let's just cut them open and see what they're like on the inside. Well, they're certainly hot because they're steaming. Looks a little bit doughy on the inside, so it might work better with the pizza bases because they'd be thinner. I'm going to try a little bit and let you know the taste of it. It is doughy. To me, there's too much salt in there. Some people might like that. I think I use about 2/3 of a teaspoon of salt. So personally, I would go down to just less than half a teaspoon of salt in there. It is a little bit doughy, but if you didn't have bread and you couldn't get hold of bread, I think it would be survivable with for a bit. Certainly might be worth a try. It might be something that the children enjoy doing. I don't want to waste your ingredients on you, but it might be something they quite enjoy making. If you haven't got bread fat, if you haven't got yeast, this might be something you could try. Hope you enjoy having a go at that one.